Logging in Mixer the robot. TechnoPod Studios is online. Configuring satellite connection. Broadcast link is established. Initializing ET and typewriter. Serving burritos. The TechnoPod show begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to the TechnoPod Studios. This is the TechnoPod show, the awe-inspiring intergalactic adventures of E.T. and Typewriter. I'm E.T.
And you can guess who I am. Just take a stab at it.
I don't know.
That's right.
I'm
Yeah.
so confused. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Who
Good.
are you? Who am I?
I don't know. I think you just said you were E.T. and I don't know. Right? Wait, the TechnoPod show, the awe-inspiring intergalactic adventures of E.T. and I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well then,
Yeah,
in that
so good
case,
stuff.
I think we're in the middle of a story.
We are. So we should dive
So,
right back into that.
Well,
Wait,
if you're listening and this is your first episode,
go
just,
back.
Yeah, just
Go
step
all the
off.
way back.
Yeah, this show, I recommend starting at episode 1, or you're going to be
That's what I'm
confused.
saying.
But like this story we're telling now, I think it's been going on for like two episodes.
Yeah, this is the third part, the trilogy, the finale. Yeah, so go back 2 episodes if you want to know this story, but you will probably still be overwhelmingly confused. We recommend going back to episode 1, listening to the origin story, figuring it all out, and then coming back here. So you'll be nice and primed. That's it.
Primed. I don't know. That struck me as odd. I was going to make some sort of innuendo, and then I just blanked out. Speaking of that, I'm primed, and let's see, I need to get back into it. When we left off,
You were tripping balls.
yeah, I had been captured, strapped to the Skrex's evil machine, and balls were tripping, as you say.
Yes, balls were being tripped. I don't even know if that's how it. I
Yeah.
don't know.
My balls were walking, someone stuck out their leg,
They tripped.
and they tripped.
It's rough.
I got to the part I was lying on the beach, and I had just met my spirit animal, Oliver the otter.
Who was in a sailor suit.
Yes.
I want to make sure that everybody knows that, because I hadn't known that for the few years that I've known you until now. So, getting that out of the way, Oliver the
also wanna
Otter,
add-
sailor suit.
I also want to add, it's adorable.
No, of course. I don't know if I can invoke any other, I don't see, a non-adorable sailor suit on and on. That's, just tiny. Is he, a regular otter?
Yeah, regular size
Yeah,
otter.
no, that's
he kind of
fucking cute as
floats,
hell.
though, too.
Right, well, he's he's like a spirit animal. If a spirit animal didn't float, it would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
How boring.
If your spirit animal walks, don't trust it.
Yeah, that's
a
the
life
first sign.
lesson from the Technopod.
Tips and tricks by
So
E.T.
anyways, Oliver, he kind of explained to me in a cute animal voice that I had I'm really bad with recalling important life lessons that I've been given, but he pretty much summed up that I had a journey to make and, stuff to discover about myself. That's what spirit animals do. I was actually kind of glad that my spirit animal was talking to me and not just standing on a hill, silhouetted by the moon or something.
And then telepathically filling you with knowledge.
Yeah.
Wordless knowledge. Yeah, no, that's just creepy. I mean, it's cool. Was his voice higher or deeper?
Higher, I'm not very good with
Like an otter-
impressions
like an
and stuff,
otter
but
would
yeah, what
talk.
you would expect an adorable otter to sound like.
In a sailor's. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes spirit animal, you hear like really deep, like Scar or like Mufasa or some shit. And then there's like this. Oh, that's
Like
from
Simba.
the Lions
Yeah.
Den, or
King of the Lions.
King of the Lions from Earth. But
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So-
Squared away. I have the whole thing in my head now. Thank you.
Right. So at this point, I turn around, and there's this giant staircase, and it's made of hair.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, I thought I was on like a beach, but it turns out like after I talked to Oliver and turned around, it was just like a really small island, one palm tree, a single coconut.
That's right.
Nothing else really.
It was like a mound of sand in the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. And there was no like I wanted like a bottle. I was gonna write like a message in a bottle and like send that out.
Right.
But I figured that like tentacle creature would just like,
He would probably just read it.
yeah.
That's really rude anyway.
Yeah, so I figured there was really nowhere to go but up this hairway, as it was. And you know, so I start
You did
walking. What?
You did it. I was gonna call it a hairway, and then I said no, I will not do that on the show because no.
Oh, there was
But
a
you
there
did
was a
it.
sign.
Right. Of course there was.
It said hairway to Steven. And I
Right.
was like, at first I was like, hairway to Steven? And I was like, what does that mean? And
But then you realized it was a EAVEN.
no, I didn't realize. Oliver told me.
Oh, because okay.
Yeah,
You can
he's
read
like,
too.
this
I mean,
is
that's good.
the first thing that I need to guide you on. It's a
How
hairway
to
to
read.
Steven. Yeah, I was like, oh
That's
man,
good.
thank you. So I started just walking up this giant staircase made of hair, and like as I walked, it didn't feel like I was going up, but it felt like each step I took pushed everything downwards. It was really weird. And then man, we just walked up this stairway for like, or pushed down this stairway. I don't know. But anyways, about 15 hours later, it felt like I was about halfway up, and I was just like, oh man, fuck this. I'm really tired. Can we not just like magically get to the top or something? Like, what kind of spirit animal are you? And he's like, oh yeah. I can't do his voice.
No, I know it's hard to
Yeah,
hard
it's
to
really
impersonate an
hard.
otter.
Yeah, so anyways, he kind of like grabbed me with his little otter paws, like around, like, you know, kind of like under my armpits, and
Right.
then we just went flying.
He just hoisted you.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Yeah, so then we just flew around for a while, and then I was like, oh, was there anything important at the top of that hairway? You know, like I never got to meet Steven, and I was like, that wasn't important, was it? And like Oliver told me that was one of the first lessons. You know, just because there's a hairway doesn't mean you need to meet Steven.
Right. I mean, like that's an important lesson.
Yeah, I think it's more like a metaphor. You know what I mean? Like just because.
But I mean, like, right, but like a metaphor can be a lesson, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, in this like weird dream thing, I also met a 3 and a 5 as well.
oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Um,
But I heard the important ones when you meet a 4.
right. Well, if you meet a 4, you'll learn.
It means something, right?
Yeah, it really means something. The 3 and the 5 and 7, 8, 9 and all that stuff.
Oh man, was he hungry?
Yeah, he was fucking starving. I met a 7 and he ate 9, and it was rough. And then I met a 4, and then that was it. My life was changed forever. But so
I feel like I'm ready for a break after that.
I'm sorry.
That was a bit
yeah,
much.
No, there's a lot of that stuff going on out here. Let's do that. Let's take a break. I have some stuff to say anyways. that was occurring while you were going through this wild, dreamy wisdom trip. So what's the music happening today happen?
Out now on Drum Code Records is a new EP from Nicole Mudaber. It's called Bittersweet, and this is the title track, Bittersweet.
Oh man, Mudaber, we haven't heard from her in a while, actually.
Not on the show, anyways. If you,
Yeah.
but you know how like whenever you're complaining you can't sleep because I'm playing my music too loud at like 3 a.m.
Oh, you're right. No,
Yeah,
I recognize that sound.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Sorry, let me adjust my little captain seat here. Okay. Listen. While you were doing your little dream sequence weird spirit quest, which I'm not knocking it. I mean, that's great that you had a spirit quest, but I was with Spark and Mixer and we were going nuts trying to find you. Believe it or not.
Well, I appreciate that.
No. It's no problem. I mean, you know how the story ends, so you know. But it all started, I guess, after the set had gone through. The Wing Knight set had basically absolutely flopped. There was a riot, like we had talked about last episode. I had to escape. Mixer warmed up the ship while I was running. I was like, start the ship, and then I ran into the back of the bay, and we took off. And I mean, the next few, you must have been in there for about 3 days, because we searched basically the entire Crab Nebula for your signal. The first thing we did is we went to the Squid Club, which is the you know what it is.
Oh yeah. I still hang out there quite frequently.
Yeah. So we went to that one, and it wasn't the one that it wasn't the one that was the closed down diner. It wasn't the reclaimed one. It was the one that was off of 87.68.4 and 50th.
Yeah.
Which is a good one. Yeah, that's like the clean facility. So we went there. We went to the Squid Club.
Best tentacle love around.
Yeah. Well, I've been told.
I have a lifetime membership still.
Of course you do.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you do. But so we went in there. Asked around for you. Asked around your two favorite girls, which they know exactly who you are. So I was asking them. I was like, "Hey, have you guys seen where ET went?" And they were like, he's been around like every couple of days last week. Like, I guess you were going in more than usual.
Oh man, that was a really good impression of Wendy.
Was it?
Yeah, she sounds just like that. Like, oh, he's been around. I can't. Yours was way better.
I'm glad that it was good. So she had said that she had seen you a week ago, and I was like, well, that's not good enough for me. Like, I saw him like an hour ago when we had left the concert, and then I forget the other one's name. I think it was Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Saren.
She said that she had an ID tag that she had like injected in you. You had told her to do it. Apparently, I had no idea.
There was like a bit of confusion. She was saying something about injecting something into me, and heat of the moment, I was just like, yeah, go for it. And turns out it was like this tracking tag.
Yeah, it was the tracker. So that was like the first step in getting to ET, was that she had given us the cord numbers for this tracker, which up until now, I guess E.T. hadn't even known about it up until the point that we found him. So we followed it. We followed it all the way, maybe 3 light years down, and finally we came to a stop at a club. Like, it wasn't a squid club, it was like an actual music venue, one of the ones that I hadn't played at. And we asked the stage manager, we asked the booth guy, we asked the guy that's actually working the equipment, the lights. None of them knew where you were. None of them had seen you. I figured that, like, if it was another villain, they probably took E.T. to go, I don't know, play a fucking show for them while he's, like, under some kind of hypnotic spell. So I guess, like, that place made sense to me.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
that's like
that's what I'm saying.
Story,
like, I was like, oh, no, okay, another crazy, slime girl probably just hypnotized him, got him to play a concert for her and her friends. But no, they had no idea where you were. So we went back to the TechnoPod studios. Mixer ran so many tests to try to find ET. Spark was freaking out because ET was basically the person that pays for all our food on the ship, and I had, like, not a cent on me. So without food, Spark was turning into a monster. I mean, It was becoming unbearable to live with.
He'll just
even
eat
more so.
Stuff like tables and chairs.
The table was gone. We didn't have that table for like 2 months.
Oh man,
the one that he ate. We didn't have the money. We had to spend it on food to keep him from eating another table.
Yeah, I mean, usually when we play gigs, like, he has my rider.
Yeah, it was
unlimited food, and they're like, "Oh, how much could, like, this skinny ginger kid eat?" Like, so they have, like, some pizzas and stuff, and then I show up with Spark, and it's like...
And it's just a vacuum.
Yeah, trucks.
He's just
truckloads.
a vacuum. It's insane. So we, for probably, like, 2 days worth, like, 48 hours worth of like, working, we were triangulating positions, finding you, not finding you, finding out that the position was just something that you had started tracking, some girl, some monster that you were hunting, some weird... robots that Mixer wanted to follow around, stalk or something. And then finally, we got an actual DNA signal on the 3rd day. After basically 2 days had passed, we found a DNA signal of ET and hauled ass. I mean, we jumped into the Century Seahawk and we flew literally as fast as possible. It was in the middle of a park, so I figured, could he have not dealt with the stress or wanted to leave the concert early because he was freaked out, and it was the last place we wanted to look, and of course it was a club. It was a part of a tree that had been cut off and fashioned into a kind of like a thick ramming weapon or blunt weapon, and it was just a club on the ground. And that's, I think at that point I gave up.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, E.T. loved clubs of all kinds.
Yeah.
And I just looked at this one and I just reminisced. I was like, what about, the time where with the super bat? What about, every club ever E.T. loved? So I sat down in the grass.
I'm tearing up just thinking about it.
I know. It was so sad. So I sat in the grass with Mixer and Spark. We all sang Kumbaya. And, Kumbaya, my squid. You know the one. Kumbaya, my squid. It's an old folk song.
Yeah.
And my communicator just started going off. It started beeping, making, like, weird noises, and I was like, okay, what can this possibly be? And I don't know what made me follow it. I don't know why. Like, I thought that it was actually E.T., but I told Mixer and Spark, I was like, guys, this is our last chance. Let's just go. I know we've missed all the other stuff before, but let's just try this one out. Let's fly over to where the signal is, and we have to keep looking. Mixer, of course, agreed. Once again, got into the Century Seahawk, did not realize how far this was away. It was way, way in the outskirts of the Crab Nebula. We must have been flying for maybe 7 hours before we had gotten there, but when we did, it's hard to describe what I had seen from the ship. And I know, I can say it, but it won't do it justice. It was like a dwarf-sized planet made of like steel. Like the outside was like steel. There were like, spinnerets jutting out of it. There were pipes running through the whole thing, lights everywhere. But there was like nobody on the surface. It looked almost like a rig, like a mining rig out on an asteroid, but a sphere in the middle of space, just floating freely. And the signal was coming from inside, so I was like, it probably just caught a piece of malite or something that was in this, core, and it just wants us to get malite because that's, something that the tracker does.
Well, I guess I never told you really. Like, I guess we never really worked out. Like, I never knew that's how you found me, like, by following the tracker.
Yeah.
See, that's so weird because, like, in my hallucination, I never told you this part because I kind of thought I was dumb, but, like, there was just this, like, giant room, after we had flown around for a while, we saw, like, this shining, like, beacon out, and we went and we kind of landed on this, like, plane of light, and there was all of these, like, mirrors and things. And, I was kind of walking around, and as I would look in each mirror, instead of like a reflection, it would be like part of my life. There was like my childhood and my first love and like, just all these like, generic kind of, flashback kind of memories. Right, and then there was like, as I went down through this room and looked in all of these mirrors and saw these parts of my life, then, like, as I got to this part, the part where I met Spark, the part where we go into space, and then there was, like, the part where you rescued me from Squidgog, and I don't know, something in my head just kind of clicked, and I was like, oh, man, I wonder, like, where Typewriter is right now. And I was like, I was totally naked up until this point. And then I just, like, thought about my communicator. And, like, I started, like, trying to send you messages, but, like, nothing was working.
What? Really?
Yeah, man. Like, I never said anything about that because that was, like, my flashback kind of part, and sounds real cheesy, like...
That's fucking weird, though. We never found the malite. I mean, we've looked for it.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So, I must have been sending you signals, like, from the giant mechanical planet. I mean, I was strapped into the core of it.
Yeah, I don't know how you possibly could have... I mean, like, if you didn't have actual hands to do anything with.
Yeah, and I mean, after that, I wandered around these mirrors, and then one of them was like just kind of like different, it wasn't showing me like a memory or anything, and and it was after all of the stuff, like I'd just seen the mirror where I was captured by the Skrex, and then the next mirror was like blank, no reflection, just kind of like darkness. And I was trying to like look at it and see what was going on in it. And I like fell in, I don't know if it sucked me in or somebody pushed me or pulled me or what, but like next thing I know, I'm kind of like just tumbling through darkness. And then I landed in this like dark forest, and there's like cricket noises going on. And I kind of hear them, and like they don't quite sound like crickets. They're like just this weird chirping sound. And I kind of like, as I listened to it, I realized it wasn't really crickets, and it was coming from like somewhere. And I started following it, and just through this like twisted forest, like totally dark. And as I'm walking, I see like these giant birds watching me. Like, have you ever heard of like the rocks, like the giant thunderbirds?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like those are just like perched on these trees, like staring down at me. And I'm like starting to get really freaked out because like up until this point it was all like tentacled love, stairway made of hair, like mirrors and stuff, nothing like terrible. And now like these birds start like calling out, and I keep following this like cricket sound, and I finally get into this clearing, and there's like this blue box sitting in the middle of this clearing, and I like walk up to it, and as I get closer to it, like everything starts to get brighter and brighter, and I can see like 12 of these rock, the giant thunderbirds, like perched in the trees around me, like staring at me. As I get close to this blue box, I realize like it's what has been making the noise, and it wasn't crickets at all. It was a synthesizer, and it was making some kind of like weird, like top line percussion sound. And I was like, that doesn't quite sound right. And like as I thought that, the sound got like sharper, and it became hi-hats, and it just started like ticking. And then I was like, oh man, this would sound way better if it had like a kick drum under it. And then like before I knew it, like my mind was like turning the knobs on it, and next thing I know, there's just like every sound I could think of was coming out of this box.
Jesus. Right.
So
well, okay, here's I guess like where we come in. This sound that I guess like some people might think that this was like in his dream or something. We were already kind of deep into the planet. We had flown in this, I mean, it was a big, not hollow planet, but it had like hallways, and there was space for ships to move through it. So we parked ourselves, and as soon as I heard the sound, Mixer turns his head upwards, like looking like straight up, and he says that he's found ET. And I knew it, like the sound was like unmistakable. I was like, that just sounds like a song that he would like make. But it was wow. There was something really, the percussion was weird. It didn't feel like right. It wasn't like just like percussion where like it messes with your ears. It was like pushing down on my skin. So I didn't know if it was like bad or good. I knew that it was like E.T.'s music, but I wasn't sure if he was in trouble or something. So we just hauled ass upward. Like we got into this weird staircase, and then there was like a little like force field, and when we ducked our heads up through it, we were already it was like weird. We were already on the next floor. The next part's kind of complicated. So before we get there, why don't we take like a quick break and play something?
Okay. Well, next track I want to play is from Soma Records. It's called The Wave. It's by Heron. The Wave.
So this ship planet rig was really, really large. And I was jogging, I was running, I used Mixer to I got on his back, he had to walk me around. Spark was huffing. It was like the most ridiculous thing to try to find the sound. And we turned down a hallway, and there's like this little robot dude. Didn't look like one of Mixer's models. I mean, he didn't look hostile. He was like...
Oh, not a bounty hunter unit then.
Yeah, he wasn't a bounty hunter. He was like... He had like a spherical head, and it looked like there were like patches of land on his face. Like, I don't know, it looked like a globe almost. And so I walked up to him. I didn't feel like threatened. He actually was like the only nice thing that I had seen in this whole thing.
Oh wow, I'm listening so intently, like, but I know exactly who it is already.
Yeah, of course. So I figure out that this guy, well, this robot walks up to me and he says,
It looks like you're lost.
and I'm like, yeah, I actually am lost. And he turns down the hallway, like southward down the hallway, and he looks like up like 45 degrees, and he goes,
If you are trying to find that sound, the easiest way is through the west hallway, sector 12, through the second floor.
and I'm like, oh, where, what again? One more time?
Don't worry, I'll show you.
And we just start walking. Like he doesn't even like wait to like introduce himself.
Oh, wow.
He just starts walking forward. We go up the stairs, down, left, right, shoot straight across for like 500 yards, like just this giant hallway. And before I know it, we're right in front of the room that the sound is emanating from.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, now, wow. There's
Yeah,
so
you
much
didn't
like
know. I don't think
tie-in.
you knew. Yeah.
I didn't realize that's how you had end up finding me.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, man, the intent listener, I'm sure has placed that it was Cartographer Bot. You know, we met him last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like that, it's just weird that like we had never had him on the show.
yeah, and then he shows up. Oh man,
Yeah.
we mentioned him a few times. I mean,
Well,
he's a-
we like mentioned him, but it was just like so weird that he hadn't been on the show. By the way, thank you for doing the voice, Cartography Bot. Like I appreciate it.
yeah, and we'll get your next report here for the week after the show. Okay,
100%. Thank
Great.
you.
great, thank you.
He's just endlessly polite.
Wow.
So ET, what happened? Well, when we were behind the door, you were figuring something out. Like it was all kind of coming together. So what happened?
Well, at that point, like, I'm just playing music on this synthesizer with my mind at this point, and I'm just having this realization. You know, I've been kind of lost for a while. You know, playing techno for the Squid people and like everywhere in the Crab Nebula. You know, then we had started Wing Night, and you know, we're bumming around on piles of cocaine and everything.
Yeah.
And I was just sort of, I don't know. I mean, I was kind of just wandering along. You know, like it's metaphorically. Is that kind of? Would that be the term? You know, not like literally just wandering, but like my life had no direction. You know, we were just kind of like living for the day. Wing night at night, like partying.
Yeah, I would say it was like so metaphorical that it was like kind of like metaphysical, right? Like it was like it was too metaphorical.
Yeah. Normally I would agree and commend you on your good work, but
I mean, I apologize that it had to come to that. I
Eh.
really do. So anyway,
so at this point I'm starting to realize that, you know, the music in my head isn't just, you know, DJing like other people's music, and it's not just, you know, wing night rock and roll, and just the techno's coming out of my head. And that at that point, like, I realized that techno is what I love. And Oliver kind of looks at me and he's like, he doesn't really say anything, but with his cute little paw, he like motions me to go forward, and I step forward and place my hands like actually on the synthesizer to start playing it, you know, even more, not just with my mind. And at that point, like, I wake up, you know, like just this whole, you know, the world starts to like implode around me, and everything just disappears. The woods, the thunderbirds, Oliver like is waving by, and then there's just this like I blink and I open my eyes again, and I'm tearing myself out of the Skrex's machine, and I see the door opening. And
yeah, that's right when we walked in.
yeah, I mean, it was nuts. I see you guys tearing in. Mixer has fucking guns out.
You were fucking wild-eyed. Like, your hair was, like, sticking straight. I thought you were gonna fucking kill us, to be honest with you.
Oh man, I was just trying to play that synth.
No, I know. It just, wow. I mean, I had never seen such, like, a ravenous look on anyone before.
And I mean, did you see the look on the Skrex?
Well, that was worse on them.
I mean, they had those void faces before, but at this point, like, I'm not sure if one of them yelled, "Oh shit," or if that was you, or
That was me yelling, "Oh shit." They yelled their weird, like, I don't even know how to, it was like a roar.
hell
basically.
roars.
Yeah.
And then, like, that's when their, like, robes kind of melted off,
Ugh.
and they, like, crawled
Oh my
out
God.
through those, like, void face holes.
So gross.
Sorry, I don't mean to gross you out.
No,
but
I know,
the
no.
listener-
I have like fucking goosebumps. It's just so shitty.
I mean, they had these. They were just like, almost like, just barely not skeletons.
Yeah.
Just the barest remains of
It's
like
just skin. There wasn't even
flesh
like
and skin
muscle.
on
It
them.
was just literally just skin.
And they had like horrible claws and these like god awful tails that came up and were like arched up over their heads like a scorpion tail.
Yep.
And then they had like those mandibles too. That's
Yeah, it
probably
was
the most
their
disgusting
faces
part.
their faces were like, honestly, like, that was the worst part of them. Like, their weird skinny skeletalness was like cripplingly horrific, but their mouths, like all that fucking salve and those giant like tusks that come out, that I did not like it.
Yeah, and they were like about 18
7-8
feet.
feet?
Oh, they were at least 10. I thought they were like 18 feet tall.
Well, it felt like they were 18. I was just giving an underestimation. I didn't want to like seem like, like the guy who says that the spider is like the size of a fucking football, but it's really like a dime.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, they definitely felt 18 feet tall.
no,
looked
and as Mixer came in, I saw him like blast a couple of them right in the face.
Yeah.
That was nuts. And then they started attacking. Of course, I saw Spark just running, like diving behind some boxes.
Yeah. That's the first thing he did.
Yeah.
I did too, but then Mixer had like a couple extra pistols, so he passed me one. I'm not a very good shot, but I did, I shot some of them like in the foot, some in the arm.
Oh, I saw that.
I did whatever I could. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't really hit anybody in the head, but I did what I could.
It was nuts because you shot him in the foot, and then he was like, his foot hurt, so he was
Yeah.
like hopping on one foot and tried to grab it, but since he had like pincers, he actually cut his foot off.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Jeez.
Oh man, but like at this point, I guess the Skrex had their leader. There was 13 of them. 12 of them were kind of like attacking you guys, and the leader, the main one, he had been like kind of drawing power from me this whole time I had been hooked up. They were siphoning power out of my mind, like kind of like stealing my music the whole time, and they were trying to keep me sedated on whatever drugs they had.
Oh yeah.
He was nuts because he started like pulling on this power that they had, and just started like growing and getting like huge. I kind of, I'd been strapped to that machine for like 3 days, and I'm not sure if it really had like any kind of like bathroom utilities or anything hooked up to it.
It did not.
Yeah, so as I saw that like main Skrex guy like growing bigger and like just looming over me, I definitely pissed myself
Yeah.
for like
20 minutes or so.
20 minutes. I was gonna say like 5.
It felt like 20.
Let's just say 10.
Yeah. Let's go right. Yeah.
So I kind of like slipped on that for a bit.
He just watched the whole time.
Yeah.
I think he was a mute. I think that saved us.
Yeah, he was like just cackling at me like a
God, and that laugh.
horrible demon.
Oh.
I finally got my hands onto that synthesizer, And, it was the ancient synth of the gods. It was the machine that the Skrex had used to manipulate the dark energy in the universe and gain their original power. And
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know it at the time, but as I put my hands on it and just started playing, like, I realized, like, I could just manipulate everything. The Skrex, of course, was drawing off that same power. I just made this, like, weird manifestation of myself and, like, started, like, punching them. Did you see that?
Well, yeah, I guess to, like, explain to the people is, like, dark energy is like it's a malleable form when it becomes visible, and what this synth would do is, like, it was almost like molding clay out of all the dark energy around it. And every time that ET would, like, input a deep sound, like a bassy whom, it would be like this his fist would just turn fucking giant. He had, like, basically a shadow ET, and his fist would get massive, and he just punched the Skrex's, like, fucking jaw off.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I mean, it drug on for a while.
It really did.
There was a lot
because
of punching,
he was big.
fighting.
He got fucking big.
Yeah, it just kept escalating. We trashed, like, that whole room. It was a massive room to start with, but
yeah, but still, you guys had a bit of fun in there.
So finally, Mixer blasted the last. You a Mixer. I don't want to discount you.
No, it's fine. I really didn't. I could barely hit anything. But go ahead.
Did you shoot me in the leg at one point?
No.
You sure?
No,
there was, like,
100%.
a laser burn afterwards.
No, I
didn't.
I didn't have a laser.
Oh, what kind of pistol did you have?
Because
usually Mixer carries, like, 2 spare laser pistols.
It was like a plasma pistol.
Huh. Plasma and laser burns kind of look similar.
No, I think I'd remember if I shot you in the leg by accident.
Well, you'd have no
Completely by
reason to
accident.
lie about that, I guess. So.
Yeah, no, why? Yeah, what?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what else to say. We crushed the Skrex. I passed out for a while. Collapsed to the floor afterwards. Dead Skrex bodies everywhere. You and Spark kind of standing around with Mixer. I'm not sure what you did after I passed out, but
We stood around.
yeah, that makes sense. And then afterwards, how much do we want to skip? I mean, we kind of wandered around for a bit, like, chatted, kind of tried to figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But then at one point, I decided that synth was just way too powerful and we had to, like, destroy it.
Yeah.
So we do what we normally do with, like, garbage or things we don't need anymore or stuff that we have and want to get rid of for fun, which is fired it into, a nearby sun.
Yeah. It was a very, very big explosion, though.
Yeah, I mean, I had this thing about how powerful that synth was, and it couldn't fall into the wrong hands or it would harm, people and stuff. And then we fired it into that sun, and it exploded in a giant supernova. And
yeah, and the sun exploded. I mean, it was a disaster.
Yeah,
but really, like, how what?
It was
how,
for the greater
How much
good,
bigger of a
I believe.
disaster would it have been?
Right.
If that had gotten into the
That's
wrong
what
hands.
we had said on the court papers.
Right.
And stuff, the Intergalactic.
Right.
That's
what we said.
a different story. We destroyed the synth, saved the universe, and then, I mean, if the listener hasn't put it together,
Well,
point,
hold on, because we walked down the hallway with Cartographer Bot, and then it was you, and I remember this. You were, like, kind of dazed, still.
And
You
was
looked
I
to the right,
confused as
and
well?
Yeah,
I was
you were
confused.
dazed and confused.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
And you fucking looked at that room. It had a picture of a knob on it. It was like a little, it looked like a control knob, but not like a synth knob. It was like a wheel knob. And you asked Cartographer Bot, you're like, what is that? And, oh, he's not here anymore. But he said, oh, that's the control room. And I think that is when it dawned on us.
Yeah, I remember that. We kind of went in and, like, looked around, and it was just like, it was a studio.
Yeah.
That's
a couple mics set up. I guess the Skrex had, like, radio shows or something. But there were mics set up, couple desks, very clean, cleaner than some of the other parts of the ship at least, and a control panel and some steering instruments, and a giant window.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
So yeah,
we should just. I feel like we should just.
I think we should just say it. Yeah,
I don't want to drag the listeners
just
on
just
any
say
longer.
it. Just say it. Just say it.
We commandeered the Skrex's planet, and it became the TechnoPod Studios that you know and love today.
Right. It's pretty simple.
And then
That's how we got the TechnoPod Studios, Sam.
yeah, that was a good 3-episode answer to a question.
Yeah. Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm exhausted. Storytelling makes me exhausted.
It does me too. It does me in. Let's take a break.
All right.
Let's take a break.
Let's go back to the EP from Nicole Mudaber, the Bittersweet EP. This one's called I Know Where I've Been.
That's fair. You
Yep.
should always know where you've been.
And now everybody knows where we've been.
Where we've been. And guys, do you know where you're going? To the technopod.com, of course, where you could find everything about this show, art, the episodes, the music we've played, donation buttons, stuff about the staff, maybe even, in the near future, some articles, some stuff to read, some information. Maybe. I don't fucking know. Why don't you go there and look at it? That would be great. E.T.?
That's right, guys. And while you're there, while you're on the internet, you can find us on like every social network that I know of. I mean, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Tumblr. Simple search. I'm sure you can find us. You know, just search typewriter, electric type, or the TechnoPod. We're on there. While you're at the technopod.com, you can find links to all the music we played, the EPs from Nicole Mudaber and Heron. And you can also find links to Ryan Clausen. He does all the art for the show. You can check out his webcomic, or maybe his new book he's releasing about his character Toots. I mean,
We can't tell you what that is. You're probably just gonna have to go and look for it.
Yeah, I mean, if that doesn't just rope you in by the
Nothing
by the nads
will.
right now.
Nothing will.
Yeah.
Cityfolk.ca. Cityfolk.ca. Yeah, so that's it, I think, right? That was
I think
short
so, guys.
for
Well,
an answer.
while you're in iTunes, if that's where you download the show from, leave us 5 stars and like a review. We'd really appreciate it.
That would be nice. Boy, howdy. That would be great.
Yeah, man. So, oh man, I don't know. After these big story conclusions, I just don't know what to say.
I'm real fucking frazzled, so I'm gonna say
Yeah,
it.
we'll be back.
Bye!
We'll be back next week with maybe the actual show.
No. Don't get too excited.
All right.
That's all I'm saying to the people. At this point, I if they're still sticking around,
22 episodes in, we haven't
Yeah,
even actually gotten
they're
to the
probably
real
used to
show.
it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yep. Bye.
Bye!
Ending show recording, configuring music. for listening. This has been a broadcast of the TechnoPod Studios.
My balls were walking, someone stuck out their leg, and they tripped.
Do not forget to visit thetechnopod.com. Ending transmission.